Be Progressive Show. I'm Brandon Neal. Wanted to do a clip here about this whole left dogging on Rush Limbaugh and dogging on the state of Texas. It's kind of a new thing now that, anytime somebody on the left or somebody on the right dies that was in politics, then the opposite side always is, saying they deserved it, glad they're dead, pissing on their grave, those kinds of things. I said all those things about Rush Limbaugh, and I don't regret saying those things about Rush Limbaugh. So the reason that I want to bring this up is there are people that are saying that we shouldn't, regardless of who the person is or what the person did, we shouldn't trample on their grave. We shouldn't say these things about them now that they're dead. And I've always hated the fact that when someone dies, they automatically become like a 10 times better person, than they were in real life. That bothers me. And Rush Limbaugh was the worst. One of the worst. He laid the groundwork for Hannity, Ingram, these other dangerous folks on the right. He laid the groundwork for their rhetoric and that style of, shock and propaganda and racism and xenophobia. And, he's done awful and said awful things. There's a million clips I could play. There's tons and, hours and hours and hours of video or of audio of him saying awful things. But the reason I totally dunked on Rush is because the things that he's done in his career have not only set a path for, like I said, the Hannitys and the Ingrams and the people that are like them, he has kind of paved the way for those kind of people, and those kind of people, including himself, are very dangerous people. And he allowed that kind of hateful rhetoric and propaganda to be spread in the mainstream, and it was okay. Even in the 80s, I was born in 79, so I grew up through the 80s, and in the late 80s and the early 90s, some of the things that were being said, not only with Rush, but with others like Howard Stern, just shock jocks, and Rush chose to be a shock jock just on politics. So his was right-wing politics. And I've seen a lot of his supporters say, well, here's clips of Howard Stern saying this awful thing and doing this unbelievably misogynistic thing, misogynistic, I can't speak today, and that's true. And Howard Stern did say and do a lot of, crazy, awful kind of stuff, but Howard Stern was literally in pure form just going to be a shock jock. He was just wanting to make a show that did over the top kind of things, and it wasn't always hateful, but it was like, I don't even want to go. There's all kinds of things. There's just all the naked women, or the as the movie says, you win a toilet for the largest bowel movement on air. I mean, he did gross and disgusting things like that, but he wasn't in the business of hate, and I'm not excusing Howard Stern. I think a lot of things that Howard Stern did and said were gross and way over the top. But then again, it's not really about politics. It's not about people's lives. And Rush Limbaugh in the 80s had a segment that he would play disco music from, I think it was like Diana Warwick or something, and like he would read the names of gay men that died of AIDS and play like, happy music and was celebrating the deaths of people that died of AIDS, So that right there just automatically disqualifies you. I don't care about anything else that you do. If when you pass away, I tell people exactly what I think about you, and then I'm glad that you're gone. But that's the big argument right now. So let's listen to a little bit of CNN last year when Donald Trump gave Rush the medal. I think it was the Medal of Freedom. He basically pissed off the entire media and everybody in politics because of and as CNN did a piece here a year ago about this when it came out, and they kind of sum it up pretty well. So I'll just let you to watch this, and you can see why I do not care that Rush Limbaugh died. In fact, I'm happy that he's gone.
What does it say about the college co-ed Susan Fluke, who goes before a congressional committee and essentially says that she must be paid to have sex? What does that make her? It makes her a slut, right? Makes her a prostitute. She wants to be paid to have sex. Ms. Fluke, and the rest of you feminazis, here's the deal. If we are going to pay for your contraceptives and thus pay for you to have sex, we want something for it. And I'll tell you what it is. We want you to post the videos online so we can all watch. This is Michael J. Fox. He's got Parkinson's disease. And in this commercial, he is exaggerating the effects of the disease. He is moving all around and shaking, and it's purely an act. This is the only time I have ever seen Michael J. Fox portray any of the symptoms of the disease he has. We're witnessing racism all this week that led up to the inauguration. We are being told that we have to hope he succeeds, that we have to bend over, grab the ankles, bend over forward, backward, whichever, because his father was black, because this is the first black president. We've got to accept this. Could we see the cute kid? Let's take a look, see who is the cute kid in the White House. No, that's not the kid. That's the kid. We try to...
Limbaugh did later apologize for some of those remarks. John Avlon is back with me. And by the way, it was 10 years ago this month that you wrote Wingnuts, right? So
hard to believe.
What did you make of that moment last night?
Look, that was a classic pander in real time by a reality show president to a key constituency, right-wing talk radio. And
that's where I'll stop it, because they just kind of go on to, state the obvious about Rush Limbaugh there. But, the people that had received this Medal of Freedom, if you look at the past recipients of this and then look at, it's like Rush Limbaugh does not belong on this list at all, and the right was like, oh, that triggers liberal. No, I mean, it's just dumb, dude. Like, he didn't do anything. All he did was weaken America. That's it. And you have a president that's celebrating it. So, I don't know. These people that are awful like Rush Limbaugh, I just don't care, I just don't care at all. I'm sorry. I know you're supposed to forgive people and all, but if it was one comment or one thing or just a couple things over his life or something, but he dedicated a majority of his life to being an asshole. And so I'll dedicate a majority of the rest of my life to downplaying Rush Limbaugh and telling people what a piece of shit that he really is. So the other thing that I want to bring up, I did a fact check on that because that was going around. That was the other thing I was going to say was he had a tweet that was talking about his AIDS update where he did, read the names of gay people that had died. And I couldn't find any clips on this. I can't find video, can't find audio about it. So I thought, does this even exist? Is this even real? And so the more you look into it, it is real. He actually has apologized for it and admitted it. I mean, it was on the radio. But I can't find any clips. So if anybody has any audio or recording that they would send me of that, I would definitely appreciate that. But I don't have it. Anyway, the other thing that I was going to talk about tonight was that's kind of related to this is, the debate was, like I said, about Rush or people that die. Should we, give them a hard time? And then we have people that are on the left that, prominent blue checks, neolibs, a lot of people across a lot of spectrums. It doesn't matter your ideology. You could be left or center or whatever, but there are a lot of people that came out about the Texas thing and said, hey, this is what you get. You vote for Republicans that do this year after year, and so this is what you get. Deal with it. We don't care about you. Shouldn't give you aid. And that's just, it's horseshit. All of that's horseshit. What happens when Donald Trump didn't want to give coronavirus aid to Democratic states? Those same blue checks and those same neolibs were up in arms and how dare you, clutching their pearls. But as soon as it happens in Texas, then it's the other way around. And that's the kind of shit that I want to get away from. because 50% of that state are Democrats, are people that aren't Republicans. They did not vote for those people, you know, and also you just have an enormous amount of people out there that vote one way or the other with literal no knowledge. You know, they just know that their parents voted Republican or Democrat, and that's what they do. They don't. I mean, that's a large swath of the country, whether you like it or not. That's the case, and people just ignore politics. It's getting harder and harder to ignore now. Now with the internet and you know, videos and high speed internet are capable of instantly, you know, within live streamed or within seconds after something happens, the world knows about it. So, you know, I don't know why people choose to like blame people in Texas for these things, even if they're, you know, uneducated voters. And then, not that, I mean, there is something wrong with that, but I'm not like making fun of these people. But, you know, a majority of these people don't care like for politics like we do. You know, they don't get involved. Should they? Yeah, of course they should, but they don't, and we can't make them, you know. So you have 50% of the country that's Democrats. You have a large swath of people that may vote Republican. They don't really even follow politics, and they, you know, they don't really know what's going on, and they just pull the lever one way or that. We both have that. But in Texas, you know, that's a large swath of the state, you know. And yeah, their politicians are awful, and the things that they did, you know, or with the deregulation of the power grid and not connecting to the U.S. power grid, and it was all for corrupt reasons. It was all to make people money. It was all to, you know, enrich Republican right-wing politicians and people in the, you know, energy industry. That's hard to say. Energy industry? Yeah. Energy industry. You know, so these people, all these people, the Republicans that were responsible, should be held accountable. You know, I mean, obviously, now that you know that this is what took place, then you shouldn't vote for these people. And we had also the discussion about the windmills, and it's like, I mean, that discussion can be shut down in 2 sentences pretty much, you know. 20% of Texas comes from renewable energies. Not even all of that is windmill. And a lot of it's solar panel. So if you only have maybe 10 or 15% of your energy coming from windmills, and then you have Fox News, Laura Ingraham and Hannity and Rush Limbaugh, if he was still alive, and all these other people coming out, they have to be against climate change. So they had to spin this. They have to be against renewable energy. They're oil whores, so they have to defend the oil industry. So they came out and said that windmills freeze up, and then it was green energy's fault that Texas is in the situation that they're in, which is just, I mean, it's just absolutely laughable. Like, try harder. I mean, that's instantly proven, you know, that you're full of shit. Like, right off the bat, anybody can look that up and see that you're full of shit. Texas has spent decades deregulating, not maintaining things properly. You know, we have solar panels that are on the International Space Station where it's negative 217 degrees. So we have windmills in Antarctica. And it's not that these, you know, that they couldn't do it in Texas. Is they chose to not maintain them. They chose to not winterize them in any way because they don't ever get any snow. Well, climate change smacked them in the mouth, and then they realized that they should have prepared and didn't, and so they have to blame the Democrats. So they blame, like, the Squad and the Green New Deal. It's just pathetic, man. We don't have real political discourse in this country anymore. It doesn't, there is no nuance. You're either black or white, and it's just so, getting so old, you know. But blaming Texas for what happened, or the people, or the voters, is not the correct strategy here. Texas is almost, it's purple now. I mean, it's almost a blue state. So let's not act like the Republicans act, you know. And tying it back into the Rush thing, you know, people gave me a hard time for being so hard on Rush, but, you know, I'm sorry. The guy he meant his whole life purpose was to spread, you know, hate and racism and misinformation and propaganda. So no, I don't care at all about Rush Limbaugh. I don't care what you say about Rush. He was worthless, and it's the world is a better place that he is gone. As far as Texas, no, we're not making fun of Texas voters. We're not making fun of Texas for what happened. What we are going to do is hold those Republicans that did that to Texas accountable. And that's what everybody in Texas should do the next time they go to vote, is make sure that you get rid of Abbott, make sure you get rid of Ted Cruz, and that whole Ted Cruz situation. That was also, in my opinion, I wasn't going to talk about that because this video is already probably 20 minutes long, but the whole Ted Cruz thing, I mean, what were you thinking, dude? Like, even if you couldn't do anything, and even if going there wouldn't have affected anything whatsoever, optics, man. Did you not think that you were going to be recognized on the airplane? Like, you're a pretty, recognizable dude. Like, people know who you are. Not to mention you wore the same exact mask that you wore, like, all the time in Congress. So, yeah, people just saw you, and it looks awful what you're doing, So I don't feel sorry for you on that, Ted. You really should have just sent your family and stayed and tried to help people. AOC got together, raised a lot of money for Texas, like multi-millions for Texas. So why couldn't you stay home and did that, Ted? But I don't know. Republican politicians, man. And always find the wrong side of an issue. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up today, this clip, and I really think that we should stop this Texas hate crap and just focus on the politicians that caused the deregulation and the no maintenance and the corrupt cronyism that's going on there that actually caused this. And let's stop blaming renewables when that had nothing to do with it. So anyway, leave a like, comment, share my video. Those things really help us new YouTube content creators. I was doing a live show every single night of the week. I have since stopped that because that is too much work for me when I get 10 views on it. So kind of scale those back, just do some clips for a while and build a base. Tell your friends, come watch me, and we'll grow from there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.